Good day, Mr. Lagunzad. I am Idoy Arceo, your finance advisor in this organization, the Wealth Max. I am here to present to you the 6 aspects of loaning, in which I, your finance advisor, will give you advices on such. So here are the 6 loans: the housing loan, car loan, business loan, cash loan, educational plan, and life plan. And the first loan we're going to discuss is about housing loan. So the housing loan is also called the house loan. It is a loan advanced to a person to assist in buying a house or condominium. In this loan, it is flexible and is up to the consumer, the broker, the buyer, or seller to decide on which bank he or she would choose. However, most banks would take an advantage if you didn't know what you are doing, so this scheme would tell you on what kind of bank you would choose. So there is one choice here. The investor and the investee would decide on how long the term would be. So this here is the simple interest table. So before I'll let you choose, there are 2 interests that I would like you to choose: the simple interest and the compound interest. The simple interest consists with 3 components: the principal value, the rate, and the time. These 3 components are to be multiplied in order to have the result of the simple interest. So in this column here is the terms or the year. In this term, there are 2 terms, the short term and the long term. The short term consists with 10 years and below. On the other hand, the long term consists 11 years and above. In the second, third, and fourth column is the growth rate, in which the growth rate consists with 10%, 15%, and 20%. So as you can see, this is the result of the simple interest. Next, the compound interest. The compound interest also consists with 3 components that is to be compounded annually, daily, quarterly, or monthly. So here, in this loan, we use the short term and the long term. As you can see, the simple interest and the compound interest are so different that the simple interest contains small amount of money, and while the compound interest contains a great amount of money. So proof of calculation. So this is how you calculate the simple interest and the compound interest, in which interest is equal to PRT and the compound. The next loan we're going to discuss is the car loan. Owning a car is everyone's dream, and in fact, it is a necessity in today's fast-paced world. A car can make your life more convenient by offering you with a stable and fast means of transport. It is now easier to own a car if you loan in the right and perfect bank. What is a car loan? It is also called an auto loan. It is a personal loan to purchase an automobile. This auto loan contains 15 to 25% and up interest rate depending on the bank that you chose to apply for a loan per annual. So the simple interest and the compound interest contains these tables. So So in this loan, the car loan contains 2 terms, the short term and the long term. So this is the short term. The car loan contains only 1 term, which is the short term. As you can see, it is only up until 10 years and below, with a rate of 15%, 20%, and 25. And also the compound interest. Next loan we're going to discuss is about business loan. What is a business loan? A business loan where you can borrow your money, where money you borrow for your business paid back for a small return fee. This plan is very ideal when seeking quick money to deal with business matters when you don't have it. The loaner usually has 2 things in mind: business start out and business expansion. So in this loan, the terms used are the short term, which is this one, and the long term. So the growth rate contains 1.5%, 2%, 3.5%, and 5%. And in this table is the compound interest. Next loan is the cash loan. So what is a cash loan? It is also called payday advance, salary loan, payroll loan, and etc. In this plan, it depends on the investor on how much rate he will choose to invest. With the right cash flow plan and discipline, one can only engage in getting personal loan to funds in a worthy life project. The term can be flexible depending on the investor and the investee. So this is the simple interest. As you can see, the term is only 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. So it only contains a short term with a growth rate of 2%, 3%, 5%, and 10%. So this is a table of the simple interest. Next is the compound interest with the same content of the table. Next, we're going to discuss is the educational plan. What is an educational plan? Educational planning is the process of preparing your post-secondary education. Effective educational planning enables you to make a smooth transition from high school to college. A good educational plan will provide you and your family with a map of your future. How planning works. So there are 3 growth method in which your profit will increase depending on what method you decide. If you decide to compound your interest, you may proceed to choosing on what method to use in growth. As the rate growth, the profit increases. You get to decide on the time you plan to invest your money, and we get to decide the growth rate of your profit. The rate will start with 5% and is to be added with another 5% in order to have the growth rate that is 5% to 10%, 15%, and up until 20%. As the time grows at a constant rate, the profit increases. We get to offer on the time of your investment, and you get to decide on when you want to invest your money that we offer and the rate you want to have at a constant rate. With your decided time, you get to increase your money. And I would like to suggest this method to choose instead of if you want to increase your money more. So this is the simple interest that contains 2 terms, the short term and the long term. So in the growth rate contains 5%, 10%, 15%, and 20%. Also in the compound interest. Next, we're going to discuss is the life plan or insurance plan. Insurance that pays the amount out of sum of money either on the death of the insured person or after a set of period. In this plan, it is flexible and is up to the consumer to decide for his or her own plan for the money he or she invests on the time of his or her death. Choices: use the money for the expenses during his or her mourn. Second, give the investments to his or her beneficiary, the insurance. So this is the simple interest that contains 2 terms, the short term and the long term, that contains a growth rate of 2%, 3%, 5%, and 10%. Also in the compound interest. So as you can see, on the loans, as the term increases, as the term is higher with the growth rate, the money you invest will also grow. Therefore, when the time grows and the growth rate grows, you will also have a great amount of money. So that's all. Thank you.